And here we are back at Focal Lines and in our room, the House Concert, European House Concert Hub room at Focal Lines, which is a strong Texas element and has been a thread of Texas running all the way through the whole weekend. I'm very pleased to say we have one of the stalwarts of the Texas music scene and somebody we've been keeping some communication going just recently as well, Steve. You've been talking a fair bit. And I'm delighted that you came along just to sing us a couple of songs and maybe tell us a bit more about Steve Brooks.
All righty.
We'll do that, but let's introduce the audience to some of your music. We'll talk after we hear a song. What do you fancy doing?
Well, this is a song that Charlie Roth just requested, and it's one of my favorites. It's also one of Slade Cleave's favorites because he recorded this on his Unsung CD about 7 or 8 years ago. And it's a true story from my past life as a reporter for the daily newspaper in New Orleans before I came to Austin 25 years ago. This is a character named Everett Maddox, who was the poet laureate of the Maple Leaf Bar. And the song tells Everett's story, called Everett. Tigers burning bright through the forests of the night. Everett's was the hand and eye to frame thy fearful symmetry. Everett could cage it in a line of thought, a line of verse. Everett knew what words were worth, and Everett's words were diamond words. Whenever you heard them, something stirred inside of you. 'Cause that's what poets do. Oh, Everett, he never ate a square meal in 30 years. Man don't live by bread alone. You could find him anytime, slouched on his high chair, drinking scotch and staring at his crotch. Slept on sofas, slept on floors. Some nights he slept out of doors. Napkin backs and envelopes were the places Everett wrote his masterworks. And all of us young Turks gathered up the scraps Everett tossed into our laps. That's how Everett won his fame. We print them under Everett's name every year or two, 'cause that's what poets do. Who was the man behind the mask? None of us ever dared to ask. Poetry was Everett's shield and sword. Despair could be its own reward when despair was polished hard till it shone like a precious stone, where all of the pain could sparkle through. 'Cause that's what poets do. And all of us at the Maple Leaf knew he would come to grief. Some folks live so close to death, you could swear you smell it on their breath. Yes, poets dream, poets drink, poets live life on the brink. Poets smoke, poets die, and if you ever ask them why, they'll tell you they don't have a clue. They'll tell you it's just what poets do. So Everett's body turned to ash. We all had a mighty bash. People came from near and far to toast the bard at the Bard's bar. We knew he would have done the same for us. And Everett, wherever you are, leaning on some heavenly bar, slushed upon some sacred stool where God serves his holy fools, even where you damned him to his face. Everett, I know you've got his grace. And as I listened at your wake, I saw how only you could make triumph out of tragedy, tragedy into a divine comedy. Your words will outlive you. 'Cause Everett, that's what poets do.
Marvellous stuff. Steve Brooks. Live here from Focal Lines on the Medicine Show. And Steve, good place to start with Texas and the poet tradition in Texas. You mentioned poets in that song, of course.
Yeah.
Why is that? A big question, but why is there such a lyrical tradition in Texas from your perspective, do you think?
Well, of course, it's a combination. I imagine a lot of it, goes back to the cattle drive days, when the cowboys had a lot of time on their hands, and they spent a lot of that time by entertaining themselves and entertaining one another by making up stories and making up ballads.
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of these cowboys were of Scotch-Irish descent.
Yeah.
They had come over from Tennessee and Alabama, and so they already had this ballad tradition ingrained for centuries.
Yeah, and big stories in a big country as well.
Yeah, and tall tales.
Yeah, huge tall tales.
And then in the 60s and 70s, partly because of Austin being the college town and the cultural center, it attracted the poetic songwriters and the balladeers from all over the state.
And of course the black blues tradition as well, adding fuel to all of that at the roots of the music too. And your path as a musician, you mentioned that you were a writer on a paper.
Yeah, I was a reporter for the Times-Picayune, the daily newspaper in New Orleans, for 6 years.
In New Orleans, well, that answers the other question. Where did the music come from in that time? New Orleans must have been a huge influence on your style of playing in every facet of your music.
It was indeed. And New Orleans, of course, is a town full of stories to tell.
Exactly.
For a newspaper reporter,
you've got stories.
Paradise.
Yeah. And was that coupled with your music? Were you playing at the time while you were writing as well?
I was playing while I was writing. When I decided to get more serious about performing, I decided Austin was the place I wanted to move to. And I quit my day job and I moved to Austin in '91.
Excellent. And how has that been?
It's been great. The level of storytelling and songwriting in Austin was it was at a much higher level. Austin's a different kind of musical town than New Orleans.
Yeah, well, it's founded on lyricism, really, isn't it?
Yeah. The words are much more important. Yeah. The storytellers like Guy Clark and Townes Van Zandt, they're still my pole stars.
Yeah. And coming to Focal Lines, what brings you? Well, I mean, it's the music that brings us all, but in particular, why are you here? Because everybody has a set of goals for putting themselves through this for a whole weekend.
Yes.
What would yours be? You got a record
my
out?
main reason for being here is that I've got a new record coming out in the summer. It's my first new album in about 5 years, and I'm really excited about it. It's been in the can since last spring, and I've been carefully putting together a promotion plan. And a lot of what I'm doing here is giving folks some samples of cuts from the record and talking to folk DJs and getting things in line for the summer release.
And when does that come out, Steve?
I'm shooting for June, sometime between June and September.
And is it the same way as it is with us? You'll be busy lining up some dates after that to consolidate the support you're already going to get for the record. Will that take you out of Texas, or will that just be around Texas?
Well, I will be releasing it, all across the country at the same time.
Yeah.
And I'll be doing my first release events in Texas.
Yeah.
And then I'll be hitting the road for the second half
Well,
of the year.
and we hope to see you in Europe.
I
of
hope
course.
that too.
This is all part of a huge scheme to make that happen. It's
I got to
so
go to tour in Switzerland for 3 weeks back in '07 as a side band.
yeah,
My
yeah.
friend Danny Santos.
Beautiful country,
And,
Switzerland.
that taste was enough to make me want to go back.
Well, let's hope this is a taste for the people that of your music that might not have heard your music, and gives everybody a taste of what you're about. And we'll keep in touch, I'm sure. And keep it welcome for you in the Highlands. Anyway, when you come here, could you close this little segue down with a song for us? Oh, just before you do, you have that Facebook thing and Twitter and all the other stuff. What's the best way of accessing Steve Brooks information?
Well, you can find a whole lot about me and hear some of my music at www.stevebrooks.net. That's my website. It's got songs. It's got some of my world championship puns from Austin's O. Henry Pun Off.
There is a pun off in Glasgow, right? There is.
Well,
Yeah.
that'd be a great thing to connect with.
That's got to be the anchor. I'm looking for a pun on anchor, but I can't find one. Damn. Yeah, we shall rope you in for that. That's close enough, I suppose. Yes.
You can call it anchor management.
Anchor.
Nice.
We're going to do that. I think we're going to do that. I can put you in touch with the right people.
All
right. So this is a song that you co-wrote with Slade Cleaves.
Yes, it's a song that Slade and I wrote. It's been probably about 15 years now.
Right.
And it's turned into one of his standards. A number of other folks have recorded it too.
And it's traveled really, really well all around the world.
As far as Australia, where Russell Crowe has recorded.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah, he did an online release of the song, and he also put a video of the song on as an extra. One of his DVDs.
We'll be seeking that out on YouTube as well, Steve.
It's there on YouTube.
Yeah, I would like. I'll put a link when we put this on YouTube. I'll put the link to it. Just.
Yes, it's Russell Crowe and his band are playing this in the ruins of some old Italian villa. No idea what it has to do with the song, but it's a fun video. He does a good version of it. He rocks it out.
Yeah. So it's One Good Year that Slade Cleaves and you wrote this, and what was the inspiration behind the song itself?
Well, before Slade broke through with his Broke Down record, he had a good 10 years in Austin of just doing whatever he could to get by while he tried to get noticed by the music business. He and I both spent time as laboratory rats at a drug testing place called Pharmaco. So that's how desperate we and a lot of other Austin musicians were getting. So the One Good Year story is one that we could all
I'll relate to it.
And I finally got around to recording my own version about the time that the Great Recession hit.
Yeah.
But this song has become an anthem for a whole lot of folks. I can't tell you how many times over the years someone has buttonholed me and told me a story of how they listened to this song at during some crisis time in their life. And they helped to give them moral support.
Yeah. That's great. Steve Brooks.
Here we go. It's a New Year's Day, just like the day before. Same old sky of gray. Empty bottles on the floor. Another year gone by, and I'm thinking once again, how can I take this losing hand and somehow win? Give me one good year, get my feet back on the find it rough. I drive from job to job, but it's never enough. I can't find the will, but just up and get away. Some kind of chains are dragging me down, making me stay. But give me one good year, get my feet back on the ground. I've been chasing grace, but grace ain't so easily found. One bad hand, devil the man, chase him and carry him down. Gotta get out of here, give me one good year. It's a bitter wind in your face every day. It's the little sins that wear your soul away. Start giving in, and where do your promises all go? Will your darkest hour write a blank check on your soul? Give me one good year, get my feet back on the ground. I've been chasing grace, grace ain't so easily found. One bad hand can devil a man, a good one can turn him around. I gotta get out of here, give me one good year. I gotta get out of here, give me one good year. Give me one good year. Give me one good year.
Steve Brooks on the Medicine Show. Fantastic.
Thank you all.
Well,
Thank you, Rob.
all I can say, Steve, is let's hope it's 2015 and the album is well, it looks that way. And good luck with the album, good luck with everything, good luck with all the work and the touring.
Thank you, and hope to see you across the pond this year.
That is definitely on the cards, folks. Stay tuned.